MVP when it comes to taking care of your commercial building roof. We handle leaky roof repair, coatings, total replacements, upfits, and we even do commercial gutters. Let us show you what a valuable addition we are to your building maintenance team. Contact us today online at roofworks.com. That's Ruth, WERKS.com.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Faceoff taken forward by Marchand, splits the defense and scores! What a rush by Marchand. They dropped the puck right at center ice. He went straight forward with it, seemed to catch the Edmonton defenders flat-footed. He didn't slow down until he made it 1-0. And Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. He beat two different defenders and then beat Cal Pickard. It's 3-0 Panthers. Luosterainen picks this one up and sends it into the empty net from the left boards about 170 feet away. And Florida takes a 5-2 lead.
It's the Adam Gold Show. What's going on, everybody? I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here.
It's Tuesday.
It is Dinger Tuesday.
Yeah, if you do that type of thing.
Sorry, just recorded the FanDuel commercial. And it is Dinger Tuesday for FanDuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apologies.
Did I make a bet on FanDuel? Yeah, I think I made a golf bet on FanDuel this weekend, but I didn't win that one.
All right, so you made a golf bet?
I know.
Wait a second.
I did. There was a boost. The boost kept me.
Okay, I got you. All right, fine. I made a bunch of first-round wagers that didn't hit, and I didn't do anything the rest of the tournament. Remember last week we had Corey Lavalette on?
Yes.
So we're going to do a little bit of that today. Not with Corey Lavalette, just you, me, and the Canes masses. In terms of trying to construct an off-season plan.
Yeah.
I went through this a lot with, we'll just call it a good friend who has some knowledge of, what the Canes need.
Mm-hmm.
Just go leave it at that. You can let your imagination run wild. You're probably wrong, but, have some fun. But we were talking to Corey Lavalette last week, and remember, I hit the intercom and I said, "Can you hear Corey?" Because I couldn't hear Corey.
Yeah.
So I've been operating with headphones that only had one channel.
Right. Which, for people who may not know,
right,
that's not helpful.
No. Well, it's fine if everything is in mono.
Yes.
Corey was not.
No.
And he was only coming through the other channel. And anyway, so I could barely hear him.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to that, what you don't know is that I literally, when he stopped talking,
you had to kind of
I
wait.
just started.
Yeah.
Because I really couldn't hear great what Corey was saying. I got an idea. Anyway, I got Father's Day gift, new headphones.
Oh, fancy.
Thanks to Jack, younger son, who had no idea that's what he got.
Right, those are the best. It's kind of like all the dads for every Christmas.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dad. What?
Yeah.
What did we get?
Oh, what did I get? Oh, okay, cool.
Can I use it? No.
No.
No, you
okay.
cannot.
Never
All right.
mind.
Lots to do. We're going to talk, obviously. We're going to talk a little hockey. We're going to talk a little NBA Finals, Game 5 last night. I have questions. Brenden Whitted's going to join us in the third hour. Elliot Johnson's going to talk a little baseball. Shohei Ohtani, who has been out with, he had ACL surgery last year, actually at the end of 23, and played last year for the Dodgers. They won a World Series, but he didn't pitch. He threw his first inning yesterday. First inning since leaving with an injury in 2023. He gave up a run, gave up 2 hits. I think they were both singles. It was single, sacrifice fly, and then he got out of the rest of the inning, couple of ground outs. He threw 100 miles an hour.
I guess he's back.
His first inning back.
Surgery worked.
Holy mackerel. So, and I heard a little bit of Buster Olney's baseball podcast on ESPN, in which he and I guess it was Aiden Gonzalez, who also is one of ESPN's baseball writers. And they basically said that unlike everybody else, Ohtani dictates to the Dodgers what he is capable of doing in terms of his body, his health. Everybody else is on the Dodgers timeline. They dictate what they want them to do, the players to do. Ohtani is the opposite. And they don't mean that in a negative way. They mean that he is so in tune with what his body needs that he is essentially telling the Dodgers, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I think they were surprised that he was ready to pitch.
Yeah.
1 inning, 100 miles an hour. So we're going to talk Elliot Johnson about that and some other things as well. Also, in this hour, and I put a couple of posts on Twitter and also on Blue Sky. So there's an opinion piece in the New York Times written by June Lee, who used to cover baseball for ESPN and doesn't work for the network, does his own thing now, has a YouTube channel, is a freelance writer, but wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times entirely about the price of being a fan. And it is fascinating, and it is the time of the year where, like, there's really, unless you're a soccer fan, and I am, we're about to be done with hockey and basketball. We could be done with hockey tonight. Mm-hmm. The Cup is in the building in Florida. And the Larry O'Brien Trophy will be in the building on Thursday when the Nuggets, when the Thunder and Pacers play Game 6 in Indiana. So we could be done with those two sports by Thursday, which would leave us baseball, golf, tennis, which, frankly, we really only care during the majors, during the Grand Slams, and soccer.
And UFC.
And then, yes, beating each other up.
Yes.
And so it gives a lot of people a chance to kind of take stock. All right, what is my budget for this? Streaming services. Can I go and buy, am I going to, renew my season tickets to the Hurricanes? I know people who have season tickets to the Charlotte Hornets who live here but go to Charlotte for probably 10, 12 games a year and otherwise sell the other tickets. And I don't know if the secondary market is great for Hornets tickets. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But people have to decide what they are willing to do, how much they are willing to pay as ticket prices go up, as the cost of getting all the games that your team plays into your home.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. As that goes up, and as, like the National Hockey League or rather more so the National Football League, that takes certain games away from everybody.
Yep. And
takes them to Peacock or Netflix. We've seen that with boxing, the Netflix. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not that different. Boxing has been pay-per-view, closed circuit for probably 3 decades.
Yeah.
Right. I remember a Sugar Ray Leonard Roberto Duran, the second fight. I think it was the No Mas fight, where that went. You just couldn't watch that on over-the-air TV. Boxing used to be an over-the-air TV deal, and then it became something else. But anyway, so I'm curious as to whether or not people's habits have changed over the years, and we'll have a more open discussion. It's probably going to take the place of our one-timers today. And we'll get it more into hockey, and because I have a plan for the Hurricanes. I want to get that out there as we are now today, 2 weeks from free agency. July 1, which is 2 weeks from today, we are going to be sitting here as the onslaught begins, even in a quiet, in terms of how many good free agents are available. It's once you get past the top 4 or 5, not a lot. So, but there will be a lot of free agent maneuvering going on. And we will be here 2 weeks from today to, I guess, document the day. Anyway, a lot of stuff I want to get into, but let's start. All right, the Cup is in the building, as we talked about. Florida Panthers can wrap it up tonight with a Game 6 win over the Edmonton Oilers. Strangely enough, they have not been as good on home ice as they have been on road ice. Of course, it's all relative. They've been awesome everywhere. They just have more losses. They've taken more losses at home. Keep this in mind also. The Panthers have not had the home ice advantage entering any series. They began the playoffs at Tampa, won twice. They began the second round at Toronto, lost games 1 and 2, before winning games 3 and 4 at home, winning game 5 in Toronto, losing game 6 at home, and then winning game 7. They began the conference finals at Carolina, won games 1 and 2, split at home, and then won game 5 in Carolina, won all 3 games in Raleigh. And they began this series splitting in Edmonton, winning game 1, losing game 2. They lost game 1, won game 2. Those were both overtime games. Leon Draisaitl won game 1 in overtime. I think, was it Marchand won game 2 in overtime? Then Florida, they split 2 games in Florida, with Edmonton coming back to win game number 4, and then Florida won game 5 in Edmonton. Who knows? Look, Florida had a chance to close out the series on their own ice in game 5 last year. Didn't do it. Ended up needing a game 7 to do it. Strangely enough, and I know we're going to run the numbers with Ben the nerd coming up later on in this hour, by the way. And so I don't know what his numbers are, but strangely enough, Florida has not been efficient when it comes to closing out series. Remember, they had the chance to close out Toronto, and didn't do it in game 6 on home ice. So they went 1-1 in that situation against the Maple Leafs. They had a chance to close out Carolina after taking a 3-0 series lead, didn't do it. So this is, it's not been great for Florida. It's been fine. They have gotten the job done. They have won 7 consecutive playoff series. So I don't think we have to hold a benefit for them. But it hasn't been as efficient as they would have liked. So the longer you let McDavid and Draisaitl hang around, the more peril you are in. And I would point out that Game 7 ain't in Sunrise. Not that Florida can't win in Edmonton, but having been to a Stanley Cup Finals game in Edmonton, I would advise against it. I have seen that atmosphere. That is chilling as a road fan. Florida, advice. Finish it tonight. Do I think they'll win a Game 7? No, I don't.
Oh, you think if it goes to 7, then
I think Edmonton will win a Game 7.
Yeah.
But I do think Florida will wrap this series up.
Tonight.
End
it.
So, the United States has named their. By the way, our friend Sarah Sivian commented on this, and she's right. It's stupid that we're shuffling out a third of a roster for these Olympics. Is anybody hyped for the Olympics today? Like by the NHL, by the IIHF sending these things out. Is anybody hyped? By the way, I haven't seen France's preliminary roster. I'm sure they sent it out. Is anybody hyped by France? Seriously.
Don't think so.
Right? Or Italy?
Nah.
What? What are we doing? Anyway, the United States sent out their roster. I was having this discussion with our friend Tim Donnelly, who does the show after me here in Raleigh on 99.9 The Fan, home base. And we were sort of trying to guess at the roster. Both Kachuk brothers were announced today. I mean, look, when you throw hands at the opening face-off against Canada, which is basically what they did, yeah, you're automatically on the team the next year. So we had those two guys, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, and then, in a little bit of a surprise, Quinn Hughes, who didn't play because of injury, and Charlie McAvoy, who USA Hockey tried to kill. If you remember that story, I'm not going to go into it, but, I mean, I'm making a joke because McAvoy is now healthy, but effectively tried to kill him. So I think they put him on the roster, preliminary roster, because we're just doing him a solid since, we tried to kill him. And I just thought it was fun that USA Hockey announced the third and fourth best defensemen on the team first. Zach Werenski and Jacob Slavin will be waiting by the mailbox for their invites.
Yeah.
And I pointed out, Slavin will be happy to lead the team in time on ice again. And as somebody pointed out, actually Brock Faber led Team USA in ice time. And he did by 4 seconds per game over Jacob Slavin. And they played together after the first, I want to say it was like the first half of the first game. Was it Mike Sullivan, Team USA's coach? Made the switch. He goes, nope, Faber and Slavin, you guys are a tandem. You play, and you're playing against the other team's best all the time. Slavin was USA's best player in the event, and unfortunately they did not win because they don't have Connor McDavid. Anyway, congratulations to all the players named, including Sebastian Aho, including our old friend Nino Niederreiter, Martin Necas, and Mikko, what's his last name? Mikko Rantanen.
That guy.
Remember how excited we were to have 2 Hurricanes playing for Finland last year?
Right.
But Mikko, never mind.
About that.
We don't have to get into it. Anyway, so congratulations to everybody who was named. We're going to get into a Canes game plan a little bit later on, but I have one. I have a bona fide game plan for the Hurricanes. Now, game number 5 last night in the NBA playoffs went the way of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Weird game. Thunder absolutely in control for about, I'd say, 30 minutes of this game. We're about midway through the third quarter. Tyrese Halliburton hurt. Calf strain. I saw he was like strapped up. He had a leg brace and ice all up and down his, I think it was his right leg, but I'm not 100% sure based on my memory. But he had a calf strain. And I can't figure out why he was still playing in the fourth quarter when TJ McConnell was way better. The only reason that Indiana actually had a chance in this game was TJ freaking McConnell. And the guy couldn't get a sniff in the fourth quarter. What are we doing? Rick Carlisle, you're better than that. Halliburton had as many field goals in last night's game as you, Victoria. The same number.
Wow, look at him go.
Right, you didn't miss a shot.
I did not.
You didn't. He missed 6. And he turned it over a bunch of times. It was a brutal fourth quarter for Indiana, especially from their best players. Here's Rick Carlisle on the latest with Halliburton.
He's not 100%. It's pretty clear. but I don't think he's going to miss the next game. And, we were concerned at halftime, and he insisted on playing. And I thought he made a lot of really good things happen in the second half, but he's not 100%, and there's a lot of guys in this series that aren't.
Right. Like Miles Turner's not 100%, so Indiana is dealing with injuries. And I'm sure that there's a bunch of guys on Oklahoma City who are not healthy. It does appear, however, that Mark Daigneault, the head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, does have a fully operational Jalen Williams.
Great force. I mean, that's the word. And we've used that word with him in his development. When he's at his best, he's playing with that type of force. And that was an unbelievable performance by him just throughout the whole game. I mean, he really was on the gas the entire night, applied a ton of pressure, thought he made a lot of the right plays. And we're going to need a similar type of approach in Game 6 from him.
He scored 40. He was ridiculous last night. He had a move that actually sent me to the Gold Cup match between Jamaica and Guatemala last night when they were already up by, in this fourth quarter, they were probably already up by 10. And he did a shimmy shake. The defender, whoever it was, poor soul, just kind of jumped at nothing. And then Williams turned around and faded away from 22 feet and just perfect. I'm like, okay, we're good. We've seen enough. The Pacers are cooked. Thunder have a 3-2 series lead. Look, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that Indiana wins Game 6 and then it's a winner-take-all Game 7. But, man, I just didn't understand. First of all, if you don't play Halliburton the rest of Game 5 and you lose, it's the same as having lost. But maybe you have a better chance of having a better version of Halliburton for Game 6. On top of the fact that, again, as I said earlier, the only reason you were still in the game was T.J. McConnell. He was uncanny how good he was. 22 minutes. I don't know exactly how many points he had, but it was like 18 points in 22 minutes. He was ridiculous. So that's the guy that should have played more, and I don't understand why Rick Carlisle couldn't see what we could all see, even from our couch. Just, it was not a stellar performance from him, but it was awesome from Jalen Williams. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was great. And I will say this, I was shocked at the end of the game that Chet Holmgren only had 9 points. I don't think I've seen a more impactful 9-point game than what Chet Holmgren put on the court. It was really good. And I do not like Chet Holmgren. He frightens me. I think Chet Holmgren is essentially a straw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that with Brenden Whitted in hour number 3. All right. What does it cost to be a fan? So let this be the basis for our discussion. We're going to come back. We could take phone calls on this, 919-860-5326, or we can just cull responses from social media because I know I've got a few. By the way, if you're on the YouTube stream, go to YouTube. You can search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan, and you will find us. You can put some comments in the chat box there. But June Lee used to write for ESPN, wrote an op-ed piece for the New York Times about how what used to 10 years ago, whatever the time frame he used, I'm unclear about it now. What used to cost about $1,300 a year now costs nearly $5,000 a year in terms of being able to watch all the games you want as a fan.
That's crazy.
It does seem it. Now, I will say this. It's a very well-written piece. However, I think it's overdramatic. I mean, it just is. I think it's overdramatic, but it makes a ton of great points. And it is more costly today just to watch If you want to watch every game of the Carolina Hurricanes, every game, and you're not going to buy a ticket to any game, which is most people don't go. Most people watch at home. Maybe if you do go, you go once a year, maybe twice a year. Primarily, you don't go to road games. You watch if you want to watch every game. Unless you've got, I think, Spectrum or DirecTV, maybe satellite, maybe Dish Network. And I don't think Dish Network has the RSN.
No.
They don't have FanDuel.
I can tell you no.
Okay, there you go. So unless you have Spectrum cable, which does have FanDuel Sports TV, or I think DirecTV has it. If not, I apologize. So unless you're already bringing it into your home, if you're a YouTube TV customer, a Hulu TV customer, or you've cut the cord, you're buying it. $20 a month. FanDuel.com. FanDuel Sports Network. You can get it. I do it. I have to. Right? So, because I don't cover games on the road, and that's how I would watch it on the road. Before I did the app, before the app was operable, and sometimes it isn't, I was only getting it through ESPN Plus, and before that, the NHL Center Ice package, right? And then there were holes in that. So if you want to watch every game, FanDuel app, ESPN Plus, those games that are exclusive to Hulu, and ESPN Plus. If you're a YouTube TV customer, as I am, you got to have ESPN Plus to watch all of those. If you are an MLS fan, you've got to have Apple TV to watch MLS, most of MLS soccer. There are matches that are farmed out to Fox or ESPN or things like that, but for the most part, you are watching your matches on Apple TV. So what does it cost? Has it priced you out? Certainly, and we have known this for a long time, in if you want to go to a game, ticket prices have priced out just about middle-class America from, unless you are willing to sacrifice in other areas in terms of whether it's getting season tickets, even a partial plan. But if you want to go to a game, you want to go to a Hurricanes game, and you're going to pay to park, and you're going to buy 4 tickets to a game. We can even drop it to 2 tickets. And this is not just about the Hurricanes. It's a local team here, right? It's probably going to run you somewhere between $300 and $500 if you buy just 2 tickets. That's the reality. A lot of people can't do that.
No.
Right? You can do it, but again, you would be doing it at the expense of something else. And this is not a new phenomenon. It's not a new phenomenon here. For the most part, sports has priced out the little guy. It is becoming increasingly corporate. So, thoughts on how your habits have changed. 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. I do have 3 things that jumped out to me about the New York Times piece by June Lee that I tweeted out earlier today that I think are very important to get to. We'll get to those, and we'll hear your thoughts next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
2.5 left. Gilgeous-Alexander on top of the arc. Squares, fires, hits, and Oklahoma City takes the lead.
The Stanley Cup Finals.
And Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. He beat 2 different defenders and then beat Cal Pickard. It's 3-0 Panthers.
The U.S. Open and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
We could potentially be ending the Stanley Cup series tonight, but we're only just getting started with the riding season. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and like I mentioned, this is prime time for uncovering that bike and taking your next adventure. But that means there's also plenty more vehicles on the road too, which unfortunately also brings distracted drivers. And it's always important to stay aware, but if an accident happens on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, make sure to call my friends at Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they are just like us. They're riders too, and they understand the value of your bike and your gear and what the investment means to you. The insurance company just wants to pay you the least amount possible. So at Law Tigers, case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We're going to run the numbers with Ben Seltzer coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit less. But I'm curious, based on rising cost of tickets, rising cost of attendance to any game, how have your habits changed over the last several years? Hey, look, we have all sorts of economic forces at work here, right? Whether it's job change, whether it's job loss, whether it's raise freezes that companies impose. I am not using this as a platform for anything. everybody's economic situation, sometimes it gets better, maybe even dramatically, and sometimes it gets worse. Or it just stays the same. Pretty much covers it all, right? So we all have different economic situations. What we used to be able to do twice a year, maybe we can only do once a year. But the rising, and I heard this being discussed, especially now we've got these two, well, one major, even though it's a farce, soccer event in the United States in the FIFA Club World Cup. We've got Gold Cup, which is kind of an annual thing. But next year we've got the World Cup. And I'll tell you this, in most cases, European soccer fans are flabbergasted by the cost of going to matches that we experience here. They're amazed by, like, it really costs that much? Because not in all situations, but in many situations, you can get very reasonably priced tickets to European soccer. Anyway, with all of that said, let's spend a little time dealing with this. And I want to go. I tweeted out a piece by June Lee, who, to me, a very smart writer who I thought was over the top. Let me just give you my own quick thought. I think there are three main points that I took away from it. And really one of them is probably just 2 points. Obviously, the price of tickets has forced the regular person out of going to as many games as maybe they used to.
Yeah.
All
Even
right?
concessions is more expensive. Like if you're putting in with tickets, if you want anything there, it's gone up too.
I mean, goes without saying, right?
Right.
And it sort of mirrors the same. It's like if you go to a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the popcorn that costs them 50 cents to make maybe.
Holy mackerel.
Cost you $12.
I mean, it's completely nuts, right? So that we have the price of tickets, the price of parking. I mean, I drove into every, I don't pay to go to the Hurricanes games. I have a media pass. And driving in at 3:30, I'm like, $65?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just to park your car. That's it.
That's the greatest M sign I've got in my car ever.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Right? Oh, my
It's the best.
word. So, look, again, I'm not criticizing, right? This is what it costs. In this country, this is what it costs. So you've got that. And to me, that was the main takeaway, one of the main takeaways from this piece. I thought it was eye-opening to me that if you are a sports bar owner, even an independent, because not all sports bars are, let's see, we'll use Carolina Ale House, because it's a chain in the state of North Carolina. They've got however many restaurants that they've got. And there are sports bars, all over the place that are parts of chains and multiple, sports bar ownership groups that maybe they get special deals. But if you're a place that is a standalone, you're a sports bar and you're a good one, what do you have to pay to be able to show all the games? And it's a substantial amount. So I feel for the business owners that can't provide all of the games. Because your clientele, your customers, you're the sports bar, my team's playing, I want to come out and watch the game, and now I can't because you can't show me the game. And that is to me, again, when I read this whole thing, I thought it was over the top, a little over dramatic, but there were real takeaways. And then, if we could add it up, if you want to watch all of the, we'll just say, Kansas City Chiefs games, if they play on a Thursday night, got to have Amazon Prime.
Yep.
they're going to play in maybe a Netflix game, or a Peacock game, right? You got to have those.
Yep.
So, like, I know in most of the streaming services, you can just sign up and then cancel at any time.
Mm-hmm. But you have to change like your email address for each one. So
you can't do it a second time, right? You get
Right.
you get one
One
opportunity. Actually, no. I'm not talking about free trial. I'm talking about you can sign up and pay and then
I see
cancel
what
it.
you
You can
mean.
come back. But yeah, you can
People
use
do
the free trial.
trial.
Hey, we did no lie. We did Apple TV for the Ted Lasso. We streamed.
Yeah.
We binged 3 seasons of Ted Lasso in 10 days.
You're right. Exactly.
Right. So now we can't do the Apple free trial anymore. But here's what it costs if you want to get Peacock for a year: $60. You can pay monthly, or you can pay $60 for the year. I'm sorry, $80 for Peacock. And this is the lowest possible tier, which means you're also getting commercials. You can pay significantly more than that and eliminate all commercials, and then get a little couple of extras, but you don't necessarily need them. Paramount Plus is $60. Peacock is $80. FanDuel doesn't offer you a year long. You just pay monthly for that. ESPN Plus, I think it's $120 for a little bit of a price break off the monthly price. Amazon, you can pay $140 for the year, right? But these are all necessary if you basically want to watch all of your team's games. Panthers, Hurricanes, Hornets, whatever. Hey, if you're an MLS fan, if you're a baseball fan, they've got special Apple TV packages. You got to have Apple TV. Netflix, we've already talked about. So it adds up. On top of how you bring TV into your home. Real quick story. I want to read a couple of things here. I switched from DirecTV. We live sort of in the country. We didn't have access to Spectrum cable. That was a greater option. I'm not lauding it or anything, but we had DirecTV, satellite, wide open. We had plenty of opportunity. We have no trees. Didn't have any interference, and that was great for a while. And then all of a sudden, like, why is our bill $220? So we switched to YouTube TV. As soon as we switched, YouTube TV was, I think it was $50 a month, $49.99, whatever the number was, round up to 50. 2 months after we switched to YouTube TV, they announced the price increase to $60 a month, which frankly is pretty low as TV goes. I think it's $80 a month now. Again, still relatively reasonable considering what you get. And I think YouTube has a great service. I'm not knocking it at all. But in order to get everything you need, look at what I just pointed out. I want to watch Champions League football. I need $60 for Paramount.
Yep.
I want to watch the Premier League because Liverpool's awesome. $80, right? I need to watch the Hurricanes. $20 a month. I can do that math. $240 a year. ESPN Plus. Right? Some of the games, 10 games a year on ESPN Plus.
Right.
$120 a year. I don't really want to. But Thursday night NFL football.
Yep, gotta have Prime.
And now, by the way, the NBA's package on TNT is Amazon. Right?
Yeah.
$140. Apple TV, because I'm going to watch the Ted Lasso season 4. Netflix, like we're talking about at $10 a month, $120. Netflix, $8 a month, times 12. Then I can't do the math. 96.
A lot.
All right, so 60, 80, 240, 120, 140, 196 on top of your cable bill.
Right. And that's when we were talking about this earlier. I remember back when they were saying, cut the cord, save with streaming.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
How about that?
All right, we need to break because Ben's got numbers he needs to run. We're going to continue this. Richard Deitsch from The Athletic is going to join us in hour number 2. We're going to talk more about this as well, and we'll read your comments. I am Adam Gold. We're running the numbers for Stanley Cup Finals Game 6 tonight. Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Welcome to Tuesday, but it's not just a Tuesday, it's a Dinger Tuesday. That's right. That means when you choose your favorite player to go yard, you get a little extra profit sprinkle thanks to our friends at FanDuel. Dinger Tuesdays just make everything more fun because Tuesday is kind of one of those days of the week where, my gosh, we're not quite halfway through yet. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Go yard all season long. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But You know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. All right, we got numbers to run. Ben Seltzer is here. Ben, the stats guy. We are running numbers. Game 6, Stanley Cup Finals. As you texted me earlier, the Cup is in the building.
It's in the building.
It might go home with the Florida Panthers tonight, but how is it possible that the best team in the NHL, not even arguable, over the last 3 seasons, hasn't been great when eliminating the opposition is on the table?
Well, I'm just going to go back last 2 years.
Okay.
So last 2 years in potential closeout games, they're 7-7. They've been outscored 42-38, not that big of a difference. Power play over only 7.1% in those 14 games.
Wow, 7.1%. That's very Hurricanes-like. Sorry.
Not good.
I didn't mean Carolina to catch a stray there.
And to their opponent tonight, last year's opponent was the Oilers. They were 1-3 in potential closeout games.
The one is important, though.
The one is definitely important.
But yeah.
Outscored 19-7.
8-1 in Game 4.
Yeah. Just this year, potential closeout games, they do it on the road. They're 3-0 on the road.
Yep.
0-2 at home.
Carolina Game 4, Toronto Game 6.
Yeah. And where's the game tonight? Sunrise.
Game is in Sunrise.
So, I don't know. Could we see this epic series get forced to a Game 7 again?
No.
Last year's final was amazing. This year's final has been great.
It's been a great finals.
You know,
we've had 3 overtime games.
Yeah.
Out of 5, right?
Yeah. And the guy to potentially push this to 7 is the best player in the world.
Connor McDavid.
When facing elimination, he had 8 points in 4 games in last year's Stanley Cup final.
Well, he finally scored a goal.
Yeah.
It was in a loss. At least he scored a goal in Game 5.
Yeah.
The first goal of the whole series.
Yep. Well, maybe he'll get going now. To put that 8 points in 4 games in a little perspective, that's tied for second most in a single series when facing elimination with Mario Lemieux from 1992. I don't know if you heard of that guy, too.
Mario Lemieux. I've heard of him. He's good. He was good.
Yeah.
He's very good. He was no Wayne Gretzky.
The only guy better, 9 points when facing elimination in a single series, Patrick Kane against the Kings in 2014 Western Conference Final. So, I mean, McDavid, he's hard to stop. There's no way around this. 23 points in 14 elimination games total with his back against the wall. That's the guy I want on my side. 1.64 points per game when facing elimination. That's the best of all time.
That's pretty good.
McDavid, 1.64 points per game when facing elimination. Best all time.
Okay.
Kenny Linsman, you've heard of him.
The rat.
The rat. Yeah. We have a rat on the other side, right?
Yeah,
Brad Marchand.
absolutely. Oh, wait a second.
1.61 points per game. McDavid, the best. Gretzky, a few other notable guys. I know you've heard. Gretzky, 1.45.
I've heard of him. Yep.
Mario Lemieux, 1.4. And, we took care of Batman. Batman needs a Robin.
Right, that is true.
Leon Draisaitl.
Also good, right?
Robin, 19 points in 14 elimination games. That's pretty good, too.
So McDavid, 23 points in 14 elimination games.
Yeah.
Draisaitl, probably the same 14 elimination games, 19 points.
Yeah.
So combined 42 points.
Quick on the math there. Yeah.
If we do the math tonight, then we're heading back to Edmonton. Like, I know Florida's been spotless on the road in closeout games this year, but I don't think they're winning Game 7 in Edmonton. I don't.
I'm with you. If they force, the Panthers' hand to bring it to 7, I said it since the beginning. I thought the Oilers would win this series.
I did too. I wanted Florida, but I thought the Oilers would win.
And 4 of the Oilers' 5 cups have been won on home ice. So if it gets pushed, could it be 5 of 6?
All right, let me ask you about Conn Smythe.
If it's won tonight.
If it is, yes. If it, well, here's my larger question: how will the hockey media make Connor McDavid a real contender for the Conn Smythe tonight? How will they figure this out so we can give it to Connor McDavid again?
I think it's only
a bunch of frauds.
Well, I know we're on different sides of the fence on that last year's.
He wasn't. He didn't win.
But it's the MVP of the playoffs,
Right.
not
But
of
they
their
didn't win.
team.
But they didn't win.
He was amazing, though.
That
Single season assist record in the playoffs, beating Gretzky.
But they didn't win.
Only 2 of 3. He is only one of 3 players
Yeah.
with 40 points in the playoffs.
Who won? Who won last year?
Panthers.
Florida. Florida won.
Well,
Pick somebody on Florida.
They give it
All
to
right.
the loser as well.
I understand. That's unfortunate. Jean-Sébastien Giguère won it as a losing goaltender.
I will
He
fight
lost!
that one. I will fight that one.
All right, it's fine. It's either Marchand or Sam Bennett.
Yeah, before this series or like through the first 2 games, Bennett automatic for Florida, but I've kind of been going towards Brad Marchand here. 6 goals in the Stanley Cup final? That's crazy.
Yes. 6. He has 6 points, all goals. We have less than a minute. Bennett has 5 goals, 1 assist.
Yeah. Since the 1967 expansion, only 2 players have scored 7 goals in the Stanley Cup final. Wayne Gretzky, 1987, Mike Bossy in 1982.
I think you're probably right. I think it'll be Brad Marchand.
Well, I mean, the betting favorite is Bennett. Well,
Yeah.
let's see what happens tonight.
And it is the entirety of the playoffs. It's not
True.
just, but I'm still mad about last year. I'm sorry. You can't be the MVP.
It was a legendary performance.
It was. It was great. It's
That's why
amazing.
You
You
agree?
lost. That's Ben Seltzer. Elliot Johnson will talk baseball with us when we come back. What was Boston doing?
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and you know what day it is. It is Dinger Tuesday. Let's all celebrate because on Dinger Tuesdays, all FanDuel customers get a home run profit boost. Mets, Braves tonight in Atlanta. They don't expect a lot of home runs. Juan Soto's the favorite in that department, plus 400. How about Ozzie Albies at plus 750? Feels like he might be able to go yard. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Go yard all season long on Dinger Tuesdays, America's #1 sports book, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreases by half. Learn more about how you can quit and get started today, plus other ways to care for your heart at wakemed.org.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare heads. Triple threats of cold hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Marchand and the Panthers, they were absolutely clinical in this game. And for the Florida Panthers, they came out and they really dictated the terms. Marchand, undersized in stature, oversized in deliverable, making the miss, outside, inside, just beautiful. 2 goals off faceoffs. He willed this team to the victory. He was sensational and showed his Hall of Fame credentials, and led by him among others in their group. His line is playing like a number 1 line. That third line with him, Luostarinen, and Lundell, they've been a number 1 line in terms of production.
The Florida Panthers have 3 number 1 lines. Brad Marchand, 6 goals in 5 Stanley Cup Finals games. He had 2. Remember, part of my 3-leg parlay was Carter Verhaeghe scoring twice.
Ah, yes.
I picked the wrong player.
Exactly.
To score twice.
I picked the right player, but I also threw in Draisaitl. Yeah.
That's a mistake.
I know.
Total error.
That's great.
Speaking of errors, and came up yesterday in one-timers, where somebody asked, what were the Boston Red Sox thinking when they traded their best hitter, 3-time All-Star Rafael Devers, to the San Francisco Giants? And they got, prospects back. And I think they got a starting pitcher as well. But you traded away your best hitter. First time, trying to think how long it had been. I guess since David Ortiz, the Red Sox had a left-handed hitter that hit that many home runs. Or maybe it's the Giants that haven't had a left-handed hitter. Yeah, it's the Giants haven't had a left-handed hitter to hit more than 30 home runs in a season since Barry Bonds was creaming the ball. Get it? Anyway, to talk about what Boston might have been thinking, Shohei Ohtani pitching 1 inning, touching 100 miles an hour in his first outing on the mound in a big league game in more than a year. Elliot Johnson, who loves himself some watermelon gum. All right, before we get into the Red Sox and the Dodgers and all of that, I heard this on the Tim Kirkchin podcast. You sent it to me, I listened to it, and I was blown away by it. Are you serious that your superstition, we should have done this on Friday the 13th, that your superstition is when you're at bat, watermelon bubblegum, when you're in the field, it's grape bubblegum. Is that true?
100%, yeah. The for some reason it just happened to be that we had a healthy amount of watermelon and grape all the time, so I would stash them and put them away so that I had them and didn't run out. It just made me feel a lot more confident knowing I had watermelon in there. I think I had a really good game one day, and I just rolled with it the rest of my career. And whether or not it mattered, it doesn't really matter. It mattered to me, just like Don't touch the chalk. I never touched the chalk either. So there's little things like that, and so I told that to Kirkchin one day, and it blew up pretty good. So it's actually a clue in Trivial Pursuit somehow too, Adam. So that
Is it
caught
really?
some steam. True story.
Oh, that is fantastic.
I think even my mom would get that wrong, though.
to me, that's the best part of the story, is that it becomes a one of the orange pieces in Trivial Pursuit with the Genus edition. Probably Genus 2 or Genus 3. Maybe there's a Genus 3. Elliot Johnson is joining us here. So real quick, when you got to Atlanta after being traded, you really did tell a clubhouse kid, go get me watermelon gum? What did you have? Was it Bubble Yum? Was it Hubba Bubba? What was it? What was the brand?
Yeah, Double Bubble I think had like a sponsorship with MLB, and so like the clubhouses, they would do either they would have the sugar and the sugar free. The sugar free is garbage. You don't want to mess with that.
It's the only gum I ever really chewed was sugar free. Except the gum in the baseball card packs.
Right. Well, but okay, so like that stuff would come out and it'd be super stale, and you'd get to working on it, and finally it'd be okay, and it'd run out of flavor in about 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So like I played with Tito the next year, and what Tito would do is he'd get some chew, and he would wrap a bunch of the sugar free is what he liked because of the consistency and all that. That wasn't for me. I was never into all that junk, but really I did tell the clubby, like I went down there to the dugout my first day down there, and the bat boy, I told him, hey, you need to go run to the store, here's some money, whatever, go get the watermelon and grape, and don't mess around with this because this is important. Okay. And they went, and they brought it back for me, and we had it in the club, in the dugout, every game after that.
That is phenomenal. Elliot Johnson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, let's get to Rafael Devers. I keep pronouncing his name differently. I think it's Devers. It could be anything. This didn't start like a week ago. This has to go back all the way to the pursuit of Alex Bregman. Devers has been not arguably, according to the metrics, the worst starting third baseman in the American League the last 2 years. And Boston signs Alex Bregman to a free agent contract. He's been a great third baseman. Can also play second, and he offered to play second. But I think the Red Sox really wanted him to play third. And that, does it go back to that when it comes to the dissent that ultimately was created by Devers, who didn't want to switch to DH and then openly refused to fill in at first base after an injury?
So it's a combination. You're right. There's a lot that goes into this. I would say it actually started when he inked that big deal back when Heim was still the GM. And I think that at the time he was under a lot of pressure because the team was underperforming.
Yeah.
Everybody was crying wolf. Keep in mind, he had moved Mookie Betts, okay? And that did not look good. Keep in mind also, ownership demanded that they offload that contract because they knew they weren't going to win with that contract there, and him being a free agent and what it was going to cost to keep him. They had made their mind up that it was better for them to spend money on other players and other places so that they could field a more competitive team than giving Mookie all that money. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are going.
We're going to have a conversation about Mookie Betts in a second too. But let's move to Devers. My gosh.
Okay. But so all this goes back to that. So he was under all that pressure. He signs Devers because they needed something at the time to get the fan base excited about, hey, here's a long-term piece that we're all excited about. Now, his defense has regressed so badly. I mean, he is awful. Okay, he's terrible. Bregman is unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So what everybody needs to understand, for every offensive run you create, if you wash it away with a defensive run allowed, you're effectively a net neutral, and you're getting paid, tens of millions of dollars. That's not good. That's stupid business. So everybody is getting worked up. Yes, he's a great baseball player. They're not understanding that he's basically created a cancer of sorts inside the clubhouse. He's not Big Papi. He never will be. He's a great baseball player. There's no denying it, but it's not like he's advantageous to the defensive side of the baseball. And it's not like he's a leadership role in the clubhouse. So if you want to have and feel that way, what happened was his britches got a little bit too big, and his circle around him allowed him to say whatever was on his mind. He wasn't doing it the right way. You can say those things behind closed doors, but he was opening his mouth to the press, and that's when obviously the team decided it was better to ship him off for 4 players in return. Not the return is actually not bad. I'll applaud. Posey going after him and getting him. The Giants need him in a big way. That's great. He's not going to play third for them either, by the way. But because Matt Chapman's one of the best third basemen in the game. He's definitely not playing third. He might play a little bit of first, but the Giants have Eldridge coming up, and he's good. So we'll see how that shakes out. He's probably going to DH. But he's a good hitter. He's not a great defensive player, and they decided it was better to move it than to continue on with this saga. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen David Ortiz say I've reached out to the guy and he won't return my messages. I mean, David Ortiz. I mean, the guy. I mean, he is like in terms of he's like this generation's Yaz, right? I mean, Carl Yastrzemski. I mean, I know some people will say Carlton Fisk, but Yaz was only a Red Sox player. That to me, that's what David Ortiz is over the last 50 years. He is that guy in Boston. If you're gonna ghost him, I just don't get it. So let me go back to Mookie Betts, because to me, everything that Boston is going through now, and they've had good teams since trading Mookie Betts. They haven't certainly not won a title since they've traded Mookie Betts. I just don't understand. When you're Boston and you're not the Yankees and you're not the Dodgers, and maybe you're not the Mets, but you're right there. You have plenty of money. Well, a couple of years ago, Boston had the highest payroll in baseball. Right? I don't know, 5-6 years ago, the highest payroll in baseball. Might have been the 19 season. Like, how do you move on from a homegrown star who wanted to be there, who was a great right fielder, even though he could have played, he came up as a second baseman, and is now playing shortstop for the Dodgers? How do you move on from that guy and pretend it's for nothing else other than being cheap?
Well, you nailed it. So it was actually about the luxury tax, Adam. So it ended up being ownership didn't want to have to pay the luxury tax to not bring in championships. So if they were still in the drought, they probably would have done whatever. Okay, hey, we need to win. We need to bring in a championship to Boston. I think they got a little bit. I guess you take for granted the winning and what that's done, Adam. That's probably happened. Because you're right. I mean, you take a 5th-round pick, Mookie Betts, one of the best players in the world, and a great human being and an unbelievable athlete. I think he's a 300 bowler.
Yeah, he is.
He's good at everything, and he's a wonderful human being, great in the clubhouse. I mean, he's wonderful, and he weighs like 175 pounds, and he's like one of the best baseball players out there,
Awesome.
So it ends up being about ownership, Adam. So Heim is the one that ends up falling on the sword because he had to. But ownership is the one that made those unrealistic demands. Hey, get under the luxury tax. We don't want to have to pay this extra tax to, they're already paying a lot in revenue sharing. We don't want to have to pay these luxury taxes to be able to keep Mookie here. Get what you can get for him. Of course, the Dodgers were more than happy to oblige to go take on that contract.
Yeah.
They don't have any problem paying it. And so that's why the Dodgers are going to keep on winning and the Red Sox are going to keep on losing.
So is there a problem between Craig Breslow, who's now the GM, and Alex Cora, the manager?
There's not a problem. I would say that Breslow's going to be very analytic focused. He's brand new, so he's got a new car smell. He can get away with things. He did not sign Devers to that contract, and so that contract is an albatross because ownership gives him a budget to work with, and every single time staring at him is how much money they're paying to Devers. So it strings him on every single move he wants to make. So now he's free from that contract, and he can make the roster how he sees fit, which is tied to his legacy, which he cares about. He wants the team to win. I understand. Cora, I would say the reason why Cora gets some, I want to say demerits, whatever you want to call it, is the way that it was publicly handled. And, it was an ego contest between him and Devers. And Devers takes his part too, but it's not like Cora exactly was throwing, I would akin it to throwing water on a grease fire. He thought he was helping. In reality, he was making it worse.
I mean, I just think that, just to wrap this up, if you're the Red Sox, if you wanted to sign Alex Bregman, your first conversation has to be with Rafael Devers and say, hey, We want to bring in this guy. He's a great third baseman. He's one of the defensively. He's Gold Glove level. Two options. One, you can DH, or we can move you to first. I know they had another first baseman, but just say before we do this, we need to clear it with you. And I don't know that that's what happened, because if that's what happened, if that's what did happen, then this would be 100% on Devers. But man, or Devers, that whole thing was just such a mess. Let me ask you, Elliot Johnson, about Shohei Ohtani. He hadn't pitched since 2023. He throws one inning, single, sacrifice fly, gives up a run. Who cares? He threw 100 miles an hour. Did he throw 100 before?
I think he was up there, yeah. And really, Machado's check swing was definitely a check swing. He should have been rung on that. And
Okay.
I don't even think he should have given up that run. He looked pretty good. He yanked a couple heaters, so trying to muscle up. I mean, I know the Dodgers would prefer he doesn't do that, but of course he gets out there and starts competing. It's like, hey, Shohei, it's okay if you throw 96, 100, you don't really need to. It'll be all right. It's still hard to hit. But, I mean, he's healthy again. I think what they're trying to showcase to teams is, look, we're going to have a guy that can open for us in the playoffs and in the World Series, and you better prepare for him. So, I mean, if I were them, I would just slowly ramp him up until he's ready to go, more in October than in September. Who cares? I mean, that would be exactly what I'm doing, and just have him as a secret weapon to go out there and go and show us what he can do when we need him.
It's just absolutely incredible. And I know you can't use him in late innings, because then you would be messing with DH pitching, pitcher in the lineup. If you took him, the whole thing would be messed up, I guess. But holy cow, 100 miles an hour, and he's back. All right, let me ask you one more thing before I let Elliot Johnson go, and I appreciate your time. We have the Major League Baseball draft coming up in a few weeks. I think it's the 13th, 14th, right?
Yep.
13th, 14th of July. We have the College World Series going on right now. We've been, over the previous 2 weeks, dealing with super regionals and then regional round. How much, as a former big leaguer and somebody who is involved in the contract signing portion of the world now, how much do you kind of get, I don't know if angry is the right word, but what are your thoughts on watching guys who may be prospects throw 100 pitches on a Friday and then come back on a Sunday and throw? I've seen several situations so far in the College World Series or in the NCAA tournament where guys are throwing like 150 to almost 200 pitches in a weekend.
Okay. All right. Did you leave us enough time for this, Adam?
Yes.
So the frustrating thing for me is what happens behind the scenes. You have these kids that are ultimate competitors. Okay.
Right.
You wouldn't pry the ball out of my hand, Adam, if I was in that situation. Okay. And everything that you're working for is to get to Omaha, win a College World Series, and then get to pro ball. And the way you're kind of trained, conditioned, et cetera, as a ball player is, I'm in a competition today. I'm gonna win this competition right now, and I don't care. I'm gonna do everything I can to give everything I have today. Okay, and this is brought to you by somebody that's spent 13, 14 hours on a bus and got off the bus and went and go get them. You know what I mean? You got to give everything you got.
Right.
So it's a little bit frustrating because that it's not good for the kid. That he's doing what he needs to do to help the team, and then the frustrating thing for hopefully your listeners to pay attention to, it ends up being more about the coach's ability to retain a contract for their future and less about the kid's future. Because if it was about the kid's future, that's just irresponsible. And like I said, knowing, because most of these coaches played too, they're competitors, they get what it was like.
Sure.
So you have to be able to, what I say is, you have to be able to have reins on a quarter horse and pull back on those reins, knowing that quarter horse is going to want to keep fighting. Okay. So if it's really ultimately up to the coach to be able to determine what the players are going to do. And I know that these competitors are going to say, hey, I'm good and all that. But if a kid pitches to a College World Series and has a ring, but he isn't allowed or afforded the opportunity to make life-changing money in the draft or be a Major League Baseball player, then you've done that kid a disservice.
You did that very efficiently, Elliot Johnson. Maybe you had watermelon chewing gum or grape chewing gum. Are you still a watermelon or grape gum chewer today?
Nah, I've moved on from that. But that great big league chew definitely is where it's at, Adam. If you ever had an opportunity, that's where it's at.
Dude, I've said this many, many times. As a sugarless gum aficionado, if Big League Chew was offered sugarless, I would buy it all. All of it. All of it. Elliot Johnson, my friend, I appreciate your time. I will talk to you and see you soon.
Pleasure as always, Adam.
You got it. All right, when we come back to the cost of being a fan. Richard Deitsch from The Athletic is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. So I mentioned I wanted to read a couple of things that people had sent in, some submissions. How has the high cost of being a fan, whether it's tickets or TV, how has it changed your sports fan habits? Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. It's 3-0 Panthers.
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 6. Puck drop at 8.
Reinhart scores from the left circle. He beats Pickard short side. And there's an answer from the defending champs who once again go up by 3.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
The weather has been super up and down with the rain this past week, and we might be in luck for a beautiful and hot Saturday holiday. I'm Victoria Votenecker here for Law Tigers, and you're probably thinking, Victoria, what holiday is this Saturday? Well, for riders, it's World Motorcycle Day, which is celebrated every year on June 21st. It's a day to promote freedom of the road, and we celebrate it on June 21st because that's the longest day of the year, so there's a little extra time for riding. So whether you decide to go out this Saturday or any day of the week, if an accident happens on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're one of us. They're riders too, and they understand the value of your bike and your gear and the investment that you've made. Case evaluations are always going to be free, and you won't pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. And love what you find.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Richard Deitsch is going to join us coming up in about 5 minutes. He does the sports media podcast for The Athletic. He used to write for Sports Illustrated. He's now based in Canada, actually, but he is just a smart guy and really has his finger on the pulse of the media world, and it was through his Twitter feed that I found the June Lee column that we're discussing here. But Richard Deitsch will join us in about 5 minutes. So if you weren't with us at the beginning of the show, June Lee used to write for ESPN, mostly covered baseball, wrote an opinion piece for the New York Times talking about the rising cost of fandom and how, it was a little bit melodramatic. It was a little bit, I thought, over-dramatized in how, his growing up and his connection to his dad and his grandfather around the Red Sox or the Celtics, whatever, that because of the higher cost of not only attending, but just bringing games into your home, how, and Richard Deitsch is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, so like in about 5 minutes, how it has changed fandom. And I do think that today we see a lot of things that are getting in the way of real sports fandom. Whether it's social media, making you can watch just highlights of a game anywhere. And in some cases, the leagues are complicit in this. The NHL, you can watch a condensed version of a game. You can watch a game in 10 minutes and see all the best plays in 10 minutes. Major League Baseball does the same thing. I catch up on a lot of Premier League soccer through Premier League highlights, which are it boils a game down to about 15 minutes time. And you can't watch every game, but you can watch a lot of games, a lot of matches that way. But ultimately, it's the cost that gets you. Sports Taxi on Twitter. Don't know what that is, but interesting. I did not renew my Kane season tickets due to the continued rise in cost. I couldn't digest the cost for 2 tickets any longer. Feel like more and more suits will end up buying the tickets, and the atmosphere isn't what it once was. It is good, but not as good as it once was. I can't speak to that. I can certainly understand the cost. I did this for baseball. 81 home games for every team. I realized that there are a couple of games that are played overseas. We had 2 games played in Japan a couple of years ago. We had 2 games played in Australia. There are games played in London, I think, every year. So it may be not 81 home games for each team, but you understand what I'm saying. I picked 3 teams. The 2 teams that would be considered local for us, Baltimore and Atlanta. If you go to Atlanta-Philly game, by the way, they're hosting the Phillies next Friday, the 27th of June. You go to that game, and I picked lower-level seats in the first section in the lower level out in the left field line. Not all the way in the corner, but about midway. If you are a Braves fan and you want to go to that game, it's going to cost you two tickets, two times $210.
Wow. Well, if you are a Braves fan, I would not encourage that because the Phillies are hot right now.
They are. They are hot. But we're still a week away from that. So by the time you park your car and get to the stadium another way, we're talking about close to $500 just to sit and watch the game.
Just to get in there.
Right? For 2 tickets. Baltimore, more reasonable, but still. For Baltimore, comparable ticket, about $95 times 2, and again, getting to the stadium. So we're still talking about probably close to $250 just to walk through the gate and get to your seats. But even that is expensive, right? I did by the way, Mets and Reds later on in July, the 18th, I think is the first game coming out of the All-Star break. Mets and Reds on the same line as the Braves. A little bit more than $200 a ticket for comparable seats. When I was a kid, and I realize it's a long time ago, I'm an old person, you can get a field box seat at Shea Stadium, $5. I don't know what the equivalent of that is today. $5 in 1980, or at that point it was probably $10 in 1980. And what it is today, maybe it's $100, probably less. But that's the cost. That's the increase. And that it doesn't even include when you're talking about just being at home watching a game. It is a drastically different animal. It is pricing out the little guy. It is in some ways risking a fan base. And I don't know if there is a direct correlation between that and dwindling television ratings. I think it's more along the lines of every game is available if you want, if you are willing to pay for it. Everywhere, and TV ratings other than the National Football League have been diminishing, year over year over year. NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals television ratings in the United States are off by almost a quarter, I believe. It is just a remarkable drop. The series has been amazing. And if you pay attention to TV ratings, you wonder, why don't people like this? I think they do. I think we pay too much attention to television ratings, but a 25% drop, and it's kind of rough at this point. That is pretty alarming. Richard Deitsch covers the media world for The Athletic. The sports media podcast is a staple. I am a frequent and regular listener. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. It's been a while. I was shocked at how long it had been since I had reached out. So how are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah, I'm a good every 2-year guest, so I'm fine. And they pay me, so you don't have to follow the viewership, and I certainly understand that when it comes to the average fan, generally speaking, should not care about viewership unless they are interested in the metrics of how sports business works. So if you're into all right, how much is my team a profitable team? Well, then you should be interested in what your franchise valuation is, or did your team make revenue and stuff like that. But yeah, generally speaking, the viewership of any game should have no impact on whether you love that game or not. We all love sports that are not the NFL, and we should enjoy them.
Yes.
And it's just think of it as you love an independent film, right? Mm-hmm. Not every film is going to be part of the Marvel universe, and that's sort of what makes the world go round.
Richard Deitsch is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I remember a Twitter debate or even a feud that you had with Darren Rovell about Grand Slam tennis being dead. I don't think it's dead. I think it's in pretty good shape. It's always been a niche sport, just like golf has always been a niche sport. The reason I reached out, You retweeted an opinion piece in the New York Times written by June Lee, which I read and I was fascinated by. There's a lot of great data in there about the rising cost of fandom. Is there, do you think, a correlation between the overall cost of attendance of these games, of bringing them into your home, and dwindling television ratings?
I mean, maybe. You'd have to really – I think the only way to really sort of dial down on that would be to take a very small subset. So you think about like maybe doing it in a city as opposed to nationally. I do think that there is something to – this is not any genius take might be. There is something to the fact that sports as a whole has become far more expensive for the average American. In many cities – it really is a upper middle class, wealthy kind of play, particularly when it comes to attending the games. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Whether that diminishes fandom, though, that's hard to say because, people have discretionary income and they opt to choose what to do with that discretionary income. And so I'm sure for both of us, like paying for sports is like an important part of our discretionary income. For someone else, it might be a trip to Aruba. For somebody else, it might be like buying crabs. So I don't know if per se, like the literal cost of attendance would decrease the value of you being a fan. I did understand June Lee's point. His sort of point was that there's a communal aspect to sports, totally true. And if you experience that together with a group of people who might not be like you, it does form some kind of community and camaraderie that might not exist before. And he is correct in the sense that, in very, very polarized times, sports is like one of the few things that actually can break through politics. It can break through how you feel about social issues. And you can have a conversation with people that's sort of independent of the other things. I hope that remains. I'm a little bit cynical. You do wonder if, the United States at a certain point, well, I don't know, they'll have like a conservative section and a, centrist section and a liberal section. But
we have Outkick,
but that is
right?
still, yeah, well, true. That is still, thankfully still, it is like, it's a place where people who are very, very different, who grow up differently, different genders, different religions, all that stuff, you can get together and sort of form a community. And I understand his point when it, in the piece, and his piece is that if you price that out, you eliminate that. I would say one of the most interesting things in his piece, and again, I would feel like you'd have to probably go city by city on this, was there was a bar owner, if I remember, who sort of said, like, we're seeing less people check out our games. That's a little disturbing. My only counter to that could be, again, I'm not 22 anymore. I'm not really frequenting bars as much as I used to, but is that a generational thing? Or is there something to that where the experience of going out with your buddies and watching a game in a bar, has been reduced because the price of all this has just gotten too high? That'd be interesting to know if he was onto something there, or if that bar owner just, is in an unfortunate geographic situation where it's just not working for him.
Yeah, Richard Deitsch is joining us here. That was one of my takeaways that kind of depressed me. In that, if I'm a sports bar owner and I'm not owner my sports bar is not a chain. Like here in the state of North Carolina, we have Carolina Ale Houses, and there's a dozen of them or something across the state. So they probably get it's one owner. They probably have a more of a corporate deal. But if I'm an independent sports bar and I want to get all the games. So if it's the National Hockey League, I want to be able to show all the Hurricanes games. So I need FanDuel Sportsnet. I need ESPN Plus. If you're baseball, you need Apple Plus. You want to be able to show all the games. That's a lot of packages, and it's not like they're offered the residential rate. They got to pay a lot more because they're they're using.
That's a great point,
right? That to me was the depressing part of this because it hurts business.
It does. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no doubt that the cost of all this stuff is really, really significant, and bar owners and restaurant owners do not get a deal on this. I'll sort of give you a little bit of a theory, a thesis. I could be totally, obviously incorrect, but I do a little bit of a sort. I read his piece and then I was sort of thinking about this. I do wonder if people under the age of 35 in particular, so much of their communication, right, is via a screen, it's via phone, via text. There's so much less, one-to-one interaction. Where when I was in my 20s, honestly, in order to go out and meet people a lot of times, you had to go out. You know what I mean? You had to go out into the world
right.
and form a conversation and try to be semi-charismatic and stuff. And so, I wonder if some of it, it's not part of how many young people grow up. And I wonder in terms of the bar or restaurant experience, that becomes a little harder for those in that demographic to go out and to have to sort of face strangers and to come up with conversations where you are so used to essentially when it comes to human communication, doing it through a device, doing it through a screen. So I would just wonder, it'd be interesting to me, and maybe we're not going to know this for another 10 to 15 years, if that whole kind of going out to watch sports at a bar or a restaurant just gets reduced because people are just more comfortable being in their own home or not having to face people who they don't know. Again, I can't really prove that, but when I was reading his piece, that was one of the things I was thinking about is this thing generational? Where when there was, growing up in New York, you wouldn't blink to go watch the Yankees on a Friday night at some bar somewhere in New York City, where I just wonder if the 25-year-old, wherever that person is in the country, if that's just a different experience for he or she.
I mean, my son, 16-year-old, he watches highlights on his phone basically right after they happen, whether it's through TikTok or Instagram, or I don't think my son has ever been on Twitter, my 16-year-old. Richard Deitsch is joining us.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
He's got a chance to have a bright future for that very smart decision alone.
We're hoping for it. Real quick, the blackout rule. Should we be beyond that at this point? Do leagues understand that a greater reach is actually better for them, or no?
They understand it, but they're not necessarily always incentivized to change it. What I have found a lot of times is that, it's follow what leagues do, not what they say. So a lot of times Rob Manfred will come out, talk about how the fans are the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
We want to do whatever we can in the best interest of the fans. But then they go and sign a deal to put their games on Apple TV, right? Which is which is limited to people, and at least for the first year, didn't really even make the greatest attempt to sort of put on the same kind of baseball production that others do. So I find that most of the leagues, honestly, at the end of the day, it's a very cynical take. They just really care about money. They care about money above all. They care about what media entity will pay them the most money. And if they get reach out of that, great. But if they don't, so what? Again, the NFL is probably the best, right, in terms of providing you with the most reach. But even the NFL now, look how many games they now have on Netflix. They have an entire package of games on Amazon. So you have to pay for that stuff. They'll say, hey, we still have 80% of our games on over-the-air television. We care about fans. All right. Yeah, golf class, great. But you still have made a decision to put these games on these streaming services, which cost Americans, in the three figures every year if they want to get this stuff. So, blackouts are absurd in 2025. It's almost an inconceivable kind of thought, but I don't really think the leagues care. I think the leagues care. When I say the leagues, these are owners. They should be specific. It's always where, capital L, it's some monolith. No, these are individual owners who charge their commissioners with making the most money they can with these media rights deals. So their franchise values goes up, and they either stay in the game because they love to be an owner of a sports team, or they eventually sell for a ton of money because the valuations have gone up. And in my experience in covering media for a long time, I never, ever have seen leagues make the decision to take less money in exchange for reach. It just almost never happens. They almost always now go with whatever entity provides the most money, and that gets back to the NHL. 2021, Gary Bettman and the owners made a decision that we're not going to take NBC, who was offering less money but more reach, in exchange for Turner Sports, who had a much more robust kind of sports plan back then, and we're okay with putting, 3 years of our 7-year deal of the Stanley Cup on cable. Well, fast forward to 2025. Those numbers for a great series are absolutely horrible. But that was the decision you made in 2021 to take more money from Turner in exchange for not having the broad reach to get your product out there. So there's always choices that are made, but at least in my experience, I always found that what drives all these leagues is money, and honestly, nothing is even close in terms of what's the secondary driver.
I mean, the NBA took their second biggest package and took it away from Turner and brought it to Amazon. So we're not even on cable anymore. We're on my smart TV, which because I can buy anything and get it delivered tomorrow, we have access on Amazon Prime. Richard Deitsch from The Athletic. He does the Sports Media Podcast. It's a must. At Richard Deitsch on Twitter. I appreciate your time. It's been too long. Thank you very much. We'll do it again, I don't know, certainly within the next 2 years.
Yeah, see you in 2028. Always great to be with you every 3 years.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later. Richard Deitsch here on the Adam Gold Show. It's sad because it's just different from, and I say this as an old person. When I grew up I remember a time, and first of all, like Hurricanes fans remember a time when not every Hurricanes game was on TV. The first TV package, gosh, we did a podcast about it. The first TV package was like, I don't know, a little bit more than half the season. But I remember when it was routine that the Mets would have half of their games on Channel 9 in New York, and the other half were only on the radio. Think about that. For 1 second, think about that. We wonder why our sensibilities when it comes to watching games on television have changed. Think about your favorite team were only half of the games, even if they were available only on a streamer. Only half could be watched. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially while you live in that state.
And at that point, Channel 9 in New York was a lot like, was it Channel 9 in Chicago, WGN in Chicago? It was a superstation. So they were available if you had a cable network, if you had cable in your house, and not everybody had cable. You didn't need it as much, but you could get it. So you can watch Cubs games, as I did, in College Park, Maryland, in the mid-'80s, watching Cubs games.
Oh, that'd be great.
Tell you the funniest story ever, watching a Cubs game. I think I've told it before. I will tell you this story. We'll also stretch and place bets next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough.
but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Welcome to Tuesday, but it's not just a Tuesday, it's a Dinger Tuesday. That's right. That means when you choose your favorite player to go yard, you get a little extra profit sprinkle thanks to our friends at FanDuel. Dinger Tuesdays just make everything more fun because Tuesday is kind of one of those days of the week where, my gosh, we're not quite halfway through yet. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Go yard all season long. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
Jumpstart your retirement savings at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself? Because that, I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgery of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
So, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We're going to place bets in a minute. First, very quickly, I'll tell you my WGN story, watching the Cubs. It was in the summer. I don't remember which year of school it was, but a buddy of mine and I were sitting around the apartment watching a Cubs game, middle of the summer, hot day in Chicago. Harry Carey during the games. And, he's doing the game. Steve Stone is the analyst, and they're watching this kid basically swim in a soft serve vanilla ice cream cone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a little kid. The kid's 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's wearing it.
Love it.
He's got ice cream and slobber all over his face, and he is loving it.
Was it in the helmet, too?
No, it was in a cone.
Okay.
It's in a cone. It's dripping down his arm. It is the greatest thing ever. It is America.
Yes.
It is fatherhood. Watching your son just
Right.
live in this ice cream. And Steve Stone just talks about, oh, man, isn't that great? Kid getting, watching the Cubs and just loving this ice cream. And there's a pause. And Harry Carey, I kid you not, says, I'd rather have a Budweiser. Boom!
There you go.
Completely Slightly kills the moment, but mwah,
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
Oh, Harry Carey.
The best.
I love it.
All right. Let's stretch.
All right. Well, maybe we
Or
should do
just
bets.
bets.
Yeah.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
I swear that story's true.
I was just curious, so if you wanted to go to the Cubs game today, it would cost you for 2 tickets about $94 for 2 tickets, but this is
Really?
also in the nosebleeds.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's probably behind a pillar too. So
Yeah.
so yeah, $100 maybe for 2 people. But tonight we have hockey, and it might be our last hockey game. I don't know. So maybe Leon Draisaitl will come through and be an anytime goal scorer. I'm not going to put any money on it, so it'll probably happen. It's plus 120.
All right, I'm going to wait for the NHL. We're going to start Major League Baseball. Mets-Braves open up a 3-game series tonight in Atlanta. Mets have lost 3 in a row. Braves seem to be regaining footing after they regained it and lost it again. Braves, or minus money at home, Braves and under 8.5 plus 200.
Wow, okay. Yeah. And you know what? I want more hockey, so I think McDavid and company will try to make this to Game 7, and if they do, I'd be happy, but they're plus 125, so give me the Oilers to win tonight. More hockey.
We want more hockey. Austin Riley, anytime home run for the Braves tonight, plus 480.
All right, well, and since we're doing that, if they're at home, which they are, the Cubbies, give me Kyle Tucker to be an anytime home run score plus 360. I don't want them to get rid of him, but they will.
Totally understand. All right, Florida at home, minus a goal and a half, under 6.5, 3-1 final. Florida wins tonight, raises the Stanley Cup. Do you want more? Do you want me to give you an anytime goal scorer?
Do it.
I will do that. Where did that kind of disappeared? I guess we should probably finish it off with a Brad Marchand goal. But we're going to go Carter Verhaeghe plus 230 anytime goal scorer. But Panthers win at 3-1 tonight. And then we're out of hockey until next time. But I'll bring up hockey next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Mr. Businessman. Looking to reward your staff for a great first quarter? Adam Gold here. X-Golf in Cary, right in the McGregor Village Shopping Center. Take your company party or team building event to a new level. First, the premier golf simulator in North Carolina. So much fun. Food is great. Bar's top-notch. And it's a better idea than another company polo. Plus, there's a buy one, get one special for your tee time as well. Just mention Gold and enjoy online at playxgolf.com/Cary, the home of premier indoor golf in North Carolina. Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Is going to your local bar the worst part of your day? The bartender ignores you, mediocre food, warm beer? Then why go there? Take 5 minutes and drop in at Sharky's, where they'll give you a free evaluation and you can learn about all the bars that you shouldn't go to. Sharky's has helped thousands find the right bar to hang at. What are you waiting for? Sharky's evaluation could be the cure to the worst part of your day. Change your bar, change your life. Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
Welcoming you back to appointment day at the Martinez house. Raul Martinez looking stressed about scheduling a colon cancer screening, but he just pledged to get screened.
Stand Up to Cancer and Optum want to help you reduce your risk for cancer. Visit takeahealthystand.org.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Matthew Tkachuk once told me, we have a really hard system to play. Like, it's physically and mentally exhausting, but it's really hard to play again. And when they don't let the foot off the pedal, and that's exactly how they won tonight. Like, last game, they built a lead and they sat back. This game, they stayed as aggressive. It's just hard to beat, and they're so deep. Like, they've done such a good job, their front office, of identifying the right guys to fit in the system. But, like, their third line of Anton Lundell, Eetu Luostarinen, and Brad Marchand is probably the best line that's been in this entire series. That's a third line.
I mean, it's a third line for Florida, but it's a first line. They just happen to have 3 of them. And it wasn't that way until you added a Hall of Famer to Anton Lundell and Eetu Luostarinen. Lundell's probably a second-line center anywhere else in the NHL. I don't think there's another team, if you put him on it, where Lundell wouldn't be your second-best center. But when you've got Sam Bennett as your second center and Alexander Barkov as your first center, then Lundell becomes your third center. And the truth is that most teams have, most of the best teams have 3 scoring lines. And then either it's either a checking line or it is a fourth line, an energy line. So the Carolina Hurricanes are modeled a little bit differently. Carolina's second most used line at 5-on-5 happens to be Stahl, Martinook, and in this case, as we ended the season, Logan Stankoven. But they've got 2 other scoring lines, theoretically, right? It just didn't work out that way this year. And that's what Carolina needs to... That's where they need to bridge the gap the most. It's not the only place. Said this before, and at the bottom of the hour, I will give you several blueprints of a plan for the Hurricanes to bridge the gap. Some via trade, some via free agency, but I'll give you that for the Hurricanes to bridge this gap between them and the Florida Panthers. Truth of the matter is that the Panthers next year will look very similar to what they look like right now. I don't think they'll have Brad Marchand. I wouldn't completely rule it out. I don't think they'll have Marchand. I think he will go into free agency because he's still going to get paid. And I don't think he's going to play for nothing in Florida. And after Florida pays Aaron Ekblad, which I'm pretty sure they're going to pay, maybe not, and Sam Bennett, again, pretty sure they're going to pay him, but again, maybe not. After those two signings, really not going to be enough for Marchand unless he wants to play literally for a cut rate deal. And I don't see that happening. All right, we'll do that coming up at the bottom of the hour. Brenden Whitted's going to join us in about 15 minutes and talk NBA playoffs. Right now, that's where we will begin in the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Also coming up, you'll hear, I talked about it yesterday briefly, you'll hear Will Wade talk about Van Allen Lubin and the misuse, if you will, in Chapel Hill. I disagree that he was misused, but whatever. We'll hear Will Wade's words in that. All right. The Pacers lost to the Thunder. I should probably have said the Thunder beat the Pacers because that's what happened. This was not a Pacers loss as much as it was Oklahoma City getting a great performance from Jalen Williams. 40 points. He's averaging, I think, over 30 in the last 3 games for Oklahoma City. And here's his head coach, Mark Daigneault.
I thought our defense tonight was really good. I thought our conversion off of our defense was hit or miss. We had some really good moments. We had some moments that I wish we could have back. You know, the second chance points were a major problem. They did a great job of crashing to the glass. They beat us in the paint tonight. It wasn't a perfect game at all, and there's a lot of room for growth, but I thought our improvement from Game 4 to Game 5 was critical, and we're going to need a similar type of approach. You know, we got to take the humility to understand there's still a lot we can get better at if we want to go on the road and win a game.
The Thunder have 2 guys named Jalen Williams. Only one of them scored 40 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on getting the Game 5 win.
Feels good. We got to try to stay there for as long as we can. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done playing against a really good basketball team, but we got to try to stay in that space, in that momentum on both ends of the floor for longer periods of time if we want to kind of hoist this thing.
Here's the other part of that. This was an almost 20-point game in the third quarter. I think it got up to like 17 at one point. And T.J. McConnell came in and played just a great third quarter into the fourth. Keep this in mind. I don't know what he ended up with. 18 points. Tyrese Halliburton had no field goals. He and I tied for the most for made field goals in the game last night. But it was still because of T.J. McConnell and to a lesser extent Pascal Siakam, who I thought was good but not great. That was a 2-point game with about 8 minutes to play. And then Rick Carlisle's team just lost touch with it.
You guys get it down to 2 on that Siakam 3 with about 8.5 minutes to go. Just what turned from there in terms of
what happened? They got a second chance opportunity and scored, and then we had an uncharacteristically bad turnover that turned into a dunk, and we called timeout. Came out. I think Miles got fouled, got it back to 5, but then I don't remember. I just looked at part of that sequence to see what happened. Didn't make enough plays, pretty clearly.
No. Again, it was Oklahoma City, really, I think, doing more of the damage, but there also were, I think, 4 straight turnovers for the Pacers, and they played most of the game with a hobbled Tyrese Halliburton?
I mean, it's NBA Finals. It's the finals, man. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete, help my teammates any way I can. I was not great tonight by any means, but, it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. If I can, walk, then I want to play. So, they understand that, and, is what it is, and, got to be ready to go for Game 6.
I thought it was interesting. Brenden Whitted, who was going to join us in about 7 or 8 minutes, he texted me at one point, like, are they using Halliburton as a decoy? TJ McConnell was so good. Maybe McConnell comes on the court with Halliburton. I don't know. But McConnell was way more effective than Halliburton was, even if it's just due to injury. I mean, if a guy can't help you, a guy can't help you. All right. Yesterday, we talked about it briefly. Will Wade on the rubber chicken circuit talking about how Van Allen Lubin was underutilized by that other school.
Oh, Van Allen Lubin, stand up. I don't know where we got him from. We found him on the side of the road. But Ben's somebody, the other school was too young to play him. When he plays 28 plus minutes, he's done that 23 games, he averages 15 and 8. I don't know why the hell they didn't play him. But we're going to play him, so he's going to average 15 and 8.
All right, all that's fun. Real quick, this is, production meeting on the air. Is the other clip different from what we just heard?
The other clip is a little different.
All right, let's hear it.
The other school was too young to play.
Oh, never mind.
It's the same.
Not.
It's just a shorter version of that. So, my opinion doesn't have to be right, but I don't think I'm far from it. I think Van Allen Lubin on this particular state team will be a valuable rotation piece. If he's playing 28 minutes a night for NC State, I don't believe they will be as good as they could have been. Take that for what you want. I think he will be a good part of a really good state team, but if he's playing 28 minutes, I don't think you guys are operating at the top of the league. So, for what that's worth. By the way, one quick NBA draft note, and the NHL draft is next week, as is the NBA draft. And Drake Powell, former Carolina guy, was voted by, I don't know who votes on these things, the best on-ball defender at the NBA draft combine. And the best on-ball defender in this draft. I think he's going to go in the first round. It's going to be late first round, but I think he's going to go in the first round. Be fun to watch Drake Powell as an NBA player. When we come back, Brenden Whitted will join us. We'll talk about last night's game and where Rick Carlisle went wrong. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. It's 3-0 Panthers.
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 6. Puck drop at 8.
Reinhart scores from the left circle. He beats Pickard short side. And there's an answer from the defending champs who once again go up by 3.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Yesterday, we talked about essentially taking timing out of the equation. Don't worry what the rate is. Don't pay closing costs. You always have the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. Let's do math, all right? If you pay closing costs, you're saving about $50 a month on your mortgage. That's all well and good. But in order to pay back the $5,000 in closing costs you've already set out, you're going to have to keep your mortgage for just about 8 years. The rates are going to drop in that time. So don't pay closing costs. Give yourself the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down and save money again and lower your payment at the same time. Miller Lending, home of the original no closing cost mortgage. Gordon Miller invented it in 1987, brought it to the Triangle in 1996, been on Kildare Farm Road and Cary ever since. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is Adam Gold.
There will be tushes pushed in the NFL in 2025.
Push and tushes.
There you go.
Happy Hump Day!
That's brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the 1s and 2s. Bottom of the hour or thereabouts. I've got a game plan for the Hurricanes roster. Rebuild is not the right word. Makeover? Maybe that's not the right word. Additions. How to bridge the gap between the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. You ain't going to get all the way there. This Florida team is going to look a lot like this Florida team next year. So I just don't see you getting all the way there, but you don't have to get all the way there. You just have to get close enough to where it simply becomes who plays better. All right, we'll do that coming up in a little bit. Last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder took a 3-2 lead with a win in the pivotal Game 5, and now that puts the Indiana Pacers in stave mode. They are trying to stave off elimination to create a winner-take-all Game 7. Brenden Whitted, one of our basketball brains, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. So I'm just going to start it this way.
Okay.
Did Rick Carlisle watch Tyrese Halliburton play or try to play? Or did he just go paint by numbers and say, TJ McConnell, you're a third quarter guy, not a fourth quarter guy. So I'm going back to Tyrese Halliburton.
It's hard, right? Like, because these are the guys that got you there,
right?
And you always want to have faith in your star players, because one of the things, this game really reminded me of Game 1 a lot.
Yeah,
especially in the first quarter, they won by 9 in the OKC won by 9 in the first quarter, won by 10 last night in the first quarter. You saw a lot of hesitancy, a lot of unevenness. There were 20 plus turnovers again for this team.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Game 1, but at the end of the day, Tyrese Halliburton hits a game winner, who also didn't have a good game in that game either, right?
No.
Like, he didn't have this poor of a game, but he didn't have a particularly good game in Game 1 either. So I understand him wanting to ride with him, but this is the second time Carlisle's done this and made a mistake with just trusting his normal rotations. Pascal Siakam was phenomenal in Game 4. And in the 13 minutes that he sat, they were minus 14. Like that was the game. That's the game. That was a nip and tuck game most of there. And he just couldn't make himself change what he normally does. TJ McConnell goes out at the 10-minute mark. He doesn't come back in until 3 and change. That's unacceptable in a game that he's played so well.
Yeah, and that's why I called it basically color by numbers, is that all the number 5s, these are all blue. Even though, man, you know what? Green would be really good here. And I thought that Carlisle, especially when you know that Halliburton is bothered by an injury and he lacked explosion, like he was 0 for 6 or 0 for 7 from the field. Like, he's just not right.
Yeah.
And McConnell was. So...
was he ever?
I mean,
third quarter TJ looked like MJ for a second.
I mean, it was worth a saliva test.
Yes,
right?
I was like, nah, PED test that man immediately, right, my guy. Like, he was over here cooking everything that walked. 3 levels, even with the truncated 3-point shot, because they're leaving him wide open. That's not his game, but he was out here getting busy. And I love the fact that he makes the defense commit to stopping him. So many small guys, when they get in the lane and start a drive, are like, well, the big is kind of floating over, so I got to get rid of it immediately. No, make him commit, and then you can kick out. But there's so many times when guys give up on drives. McConnell doesn't. He's like, keep playing if you want to. I will just go ahead and just lay it up right here. I don't care if you're 7 feet tall. I'm just going to go do my work. Excuse me. I'm going to go do my work. And that's what he was doing. Fourth quarter, like them taking him out of the game. There was a time where the offense was stalling. You mentioned 93, 95. That was the perfect time to bring him back in. That was a 2-point game. And Carlisle just couldn't push the button, and I'm worried because I feel like it might have cost them the series. Those 2 gaffes in particular, those 2 inabilities to change up your rotations as you see fit on game day in the finals. I think those things might end up costing them the series and the title.
Brenden Whitted is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, and I don't remember the exact score at the time, but this is toward the end of the third quarter. I believe the Pacers had just cut it to 4. Created a turnover. It's very close to the end of the quarter. And I think it was Nesmith who tried to he was trying to make a play, but at that point, you've just created the turnover. Get a shot, right?
Yeah.
Don't turn the ball over. Maybe you hold for the last, and again, maybe there was more than 24 seconds left after the turnover, so maybe you're trying to play 2 for 1, but I don't think that was the case. And it was just a very risky play that ended up in a turnover, and you don't get the bucket, and Oklahoma City scored. And sometimes I wonder if guys understand the feel for the game. Like, you weren't going to take the lead there, but I just thought a possession would have been so much better than anything that Indiana ended up doing.
Well, but the thing that we praise them for has been their teamwork, with everyone feeling comfortable making decisions, right?
Right.
And so it's not just going to be 1 or 2 guys. And so sometimes it's going to be in the hands of a person that maybe shouldn't be making those decisions, but they feel empowered to do so. That's the only way you can get this kind of team vibe. Everybody has to feel like they have equity in this. Maybe it's not the play, but it's small stuff like that. Like this series, I think we can all agree, has been closer than we thought it would be. Like, even though I said OKC at 6, I thought that we would have a lot more blowouts. These have been nip-tuck games. We've gotten crunch time minutes in pretty much all of these. It's been very, very close. And so it really does mean one possession here, one possession there, one bad thought. Those turnovers, though, they've got to do something about that. Like, that's a non-starter.
Was it four in a row, right, in the fourth quarter that blew the game open?
It was just like, hey, man, y'all have to hold on to the ball. And I don't know if that was exhaustion. I don't know if it was seeing that Halliburton didn't have it. You know what I mean? Just having him out there was almost worse, not even just because he wasn't as aggressive, but if you're dog tired and you're in a dog fight, you want to be able to look over to your guy and be just like, I'm good. Like I'll go get us these buckets and stuff like that. They didn't have that. And I think the fatigue caught up to them as much as anything when those turnovers just started appearing out of nowhere.
Brenden Whitted is joining us here at HUCosell on Twitter. Did it really matter based on what Jalen Williams was doing? The guy was, he was in his bag. I know I'm sure you've used that phrase before. The shimmy, shake to lose the defender, and then I don't even know if he needed to. The turnaround fadeaway from 22 feet.
I wanted all of it. I wanted to see how crazy he was going to do it.
I'm going to watch Jamaica, Guatemala. At that point, we're done.
I started this entire playoffs when we started talking about what is this going to look like for OKC.
Uh-oh. We lost him. Gremlins. I wonder how talented Brenden is if he could just pick it up in mid-sentence when he comes back.
I'm sure he's just teasing us, so we're hanging.
Stand by. Operators are standing by. But I don't know how many people remember that play if you watched the game last night. But I forget who the defender was. It was probably Nembhard. And Jalen Williams just put a move on him, and he ended up, it looked like he was running away. He was so faked out. And Williams just turned back and did a turnaround jumper, turning the other way. And there he is. I don't know. I don't remember where you were. But
and Jalen Williams was my question mark. I knew SGA. I wasn't sure about Jalen Williams.
Yes.
And that was my issue. So he showed up and showed out, and he proved that he can be good enough to be your number 2 on a championship winning team.
He was phenomenal. It was funny. You and I were texting back and forth last night. I am no Chet Holmgren fan, right?
No, you're not.
I am not. I don't know. Maybe it's the commercial. To be honest, the commercial is annoying.
I love both of them. I love the four when they had some
they were singing,
or Call Me Name or something like that, and then the joint. Now they've overplayed it. Obviously, they're going to overplay it. I mean, it is what it is. They pay for this. They're going to do it.
True.
But I thought it was cool, man. And it was. You know what I really like? I like that SGA is consistently with his guys. In these commercials, because nobody knew what Jalen Williams looked like. Not for real. Like,
right.
If you watch basketball on a regular basis, you 100% do. Chet. Yeah, he kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln, so I get it. You've probably seen him, and he looks like kind of low-key Emancipation Proclamation kind of familiar. I feel it. But nobody knows what Jalen looks like. So I like seeing all the guys together, man.
Abraham Lincoln, oh my God, the rail splitter. Good for Chet Holmgren. But here, my point about Chet was, I'm no fan. I don't even love him as a player. But when I looked at the box score today, and I wasn't, other than Jalen Williams who scored all the points, I really wasn't paying attention to what everybody else was doing. I was stunned. Holmgren only had 9 points. He had 11 boards. But that was the best 9-point game I've ever watched. He was awesome in the game. I could argue that Holmgren's defense changed the game in the third into the fourth quarter.
He's a really good rim defender, right? Yeah. Like, I understand he's still growing into whatever body he's going to kind of probably need, because he falls a lot.
Straw.
Like him and Joel Embiid, I don't know. It would just be the two of them just laying down on the ground, though. Like, as frequently as he hits the deck, I'm very concerned for Chet's. Like you've already had a big injury in your career. I'm gonna need you to. I'm some judo or something, but you can't just be falling just all the time. But no, he's. I think one of the things is, at least for me, I've heard so much about him that sometimes I think the hype has been going on for so long.
Right.
And I'm like, let him just approve it a little bit more on these sorts of stages. And that's what he's doing. He had 20 and 10 the other night. Like he's a legitimate player. There are some clear flaws about him being able to get pushed around and stuff like that. But his ability to switch on the perimeter for a guy that size, it gives OKC a lot more flexibility. You combine that with the rim defense, like, he's a fantastic player, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever he has going in the future.
I am now I'm completely intrigued. I want to see if we can come up with an all NBA presidential doppelganger team. But we'll have to do that in the offseason.
You know, given our country's history, I don't know if the NBA is really the best. We're all going to be picking from a few of them. I'm just going to
good point. Right, it's a good point. We're
something Obama's I wouldn't be able to do. I don't know. I don't know.
A lot of 1950s basketball, 1940s basketball. Who did George Mikan look like? All right, moving on. Moving on. That's brilliant. Brenden Whitted is joining us here. Real quick, let me just ask you about all the stories about Kevin Durant. Want to go here, want to go there. First of all, I mean, I'm not sad that it didn't work out in Phoenix, but man, this guy has been chasing a great team for a long time since leaving Golden State.
Yeah.
What is it? Bad luck? I mean, he's been injured a lot, but is it honestly just bad luck, or have they just constructed bad teams around him?
It was bad luck with the Nets, right? Like Kyrie sitting out for Corona, like that was just a bad time. Harden seemed like he was only sort of kind of invested sometime. Like that personality wise, that just didn't seem to mesh. Phoenix was a disaster as soon as he got there. Like I didn't understand the construction from jump of, you're gonna put Bradley, and Devin and Kip. Then you're going to invest all of this money in these skill sets, which are important, but there are so many others that go into making a team. Right. So that was a poor decision from the architects of that one. I still think he is still an incredibly efficient scorer. He's still solid on defense. He's not as good as he was, but he's still a very good defender. I mean, like, he would help a lot of teams. Like, the idea of the Knicks saying, at least publicly coming out as we're not interested, one, that's time is a flat circle sort of moment. Because, like, I'm old enough to remember when they was doing any and everything to get that young man in New York. And now the idea of scoffing, like, like, if y'all don't go find a head coach and stop playing.
Maybe Durant could be the head coach.
Maybe something. I don't know. It's going to be about the 7th or 8th pick at this point. I love that. That's going to be a fun interview. But I want him to go to a place where he still has a chance because he's still a real contributor. And I want to see him in these sorts of situations because he's given us so many beautiful ones. He can give us some more. He's that sort of talented.
Is San Antonio the right spot for him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it matters about what they have to give up. They got Vassell, they got Castle, and they got Sohan. So those are their three best young players. Now,
other than Wembanyama.
I mean, no, we don't. That's Voldemort. We don't mention his name when we talk about trades. Like, no, we don't do that. No, that's not what we're doing. But those are the three guys. And so how much future assets are you going to give up? Those are the questions because he's also going to be are you going to be able to get him to commit to re-signing then? Because otherwise you're just paying for a rental, that kind of a thing. So all of those things matter. If the cost is right, absolutely. If you don't have to completely, take the heart out of your team.
Yeah, gut it, right.
Right, then okay. Then absolutely it's worth it. I think Houston probably is closer than San Antonio is, and so that would intrigue me a lot. And it seems like now Houston's a little bit more interested. They had said that they weren't previously during the season. I guess they changed their mind. I don't know what they would be sending back, but those two really feel like really, really great places. And then what's interesting? He mentioned Miami, but that other Florida team, Orlando Magic, them making this real all-in sort of thing for Bane was eye-opening. Like, I had to check a couple times to make sure I wasn't following like one of these fake accounts for a second. I was like, wow, 4 in a pick swap?
Right. Well,
that's a lot. Like, that's a lot for a guy that's never made an all-star team. Like, I like a lot of the stuff that he does, but that was eye-opening.
In the last 2 years, Mikal Bridges and Desmond Bain have been traded for 4 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Make sense of that.
That happened in real life.
Unbelievable. You quoted Voldemort, and you gave me Chet Holmgren is Abraham Lincoln. A successful voyage for you, sir. Brenden Whitted, my man. I appreciate your time. I'll hit you soon.
Absolutely love it, man.
God, holy cow. Literally nearly spit. I'm glad I wasn't drinking anything. Chet Holmgren is Abraham Lincoln. Could he play in a stovepipe hat? I think he could. All right, when we come back, Hurricanes fans, I will give you the blueprint to bridging the gap between the Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
If you are on Medicare, scammers may target you to steal your identity. Remember, Medicare will never call you asking for personal details. The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medicare Patrol program is here to protect you from fraud and provide you with knowledge to stay safe. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Here at NC Cyber Academy, screens are a good thing. At our K-12 tuition-free virtual charter school, your child can find a flexible and personalized education that lets them take a brain break when they need it, but also provides structured one-on-one time with our amazing teachers. But we also power down our laptops for in-person activities with fellow students to build community. Visit myncca.com to learn how we can set your child up for success in the classroom, at college, and in their careers.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but I pay bills and take care of my family. I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It is the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. 2 weeks from today, the NHL free agent market throws its doors open. Starts at noon. It will prove to be wild. Well, I guess that depends. There are a lot of unrestricted free agents. A ton of them. There's a lot of restricted free agents, too. But how many of these unrestricted free agents are really attractive to the Carolina Hurricanes? Now, for the next however many minutes, I am going to say, I like this. This is a great player. I don't want him. That doesn't mean I will be upset if the Hurricanes get him. But I think if you are the Hurricanes, you have to identify where your weaknesses lie when it comes to reaching the level that the Florida Panthers currently live at. And for me, the Hurricanes must get better down the middle. They must find goal scoring. And I think they need a bona fide top right defenseman. And they've got nearly $29 million of cap room right now. And they don't have that many contracts to sign. Let me give you the Hurricanes' actual number here. Normally, the Hurricanes operate right at the top of the salary range, but right now they are significantly toward the bottom. And the Hurricanes have $31 million in available cap space. $31 million. Now, some of that will be taken up in various ways, but $31 million in available cap space. And as it currently sits, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They have 11 forwards signed. They have 4 defensemen signed and 2 goalies signed. 1 forward, 2 defensemen, no goalies, to put 20 names on the team sheet for the given game. Now, I'm sure next year they'll operate with 2 or 3 extra players. I don't think they'll have a third goalie at the NHL level. They shouldn't. Should have 2, but you should have a viable option in the minor leagues. Right now, they don't have that. I love Spencer Martin. Great story. He was fun. No, time to go. Time to get a real bona fide third option in the minor leagues. Now, with that said, we know that the Hurricanes have already, it's been reported, they are going to be active in this free agency pool. All right, but I don't love this free agency pool. The only parts of the free agency pool I really love, I don't think are going to be available. So we will start with, in my opinion, the best available free agent, not Mitch Marner, Sam Bennett. He won't be available. I mean, could I be wrong? Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't see Florida letting Sam Bennett go. I don't see Florida letting Aaron Ekblad go. To me, he's the second best available free agent. We're talking about unrestricted free agents. In fact, I would argue that the three most attractive free agents to me are all Florida Panthers, because Brad Marchand is next. Florida can't keep all three unless all three take significantly less money than they could get elsewhere. Possible? Sure. Likely? No. I think they could bring Ekblad back basically on the same number he's got right now, which is 7.5. I think they can bring Sam Bennett back for something in the neighborhood of that, maybe a little bit north of that, maybe 8.5. Combined, that's 16. Brad Marchand, 8 playing in Florida for $3.5 million. So, because that's minimum half of what he'd get in the open market. If I were the Hurricanes, I would consider giving Brad Marchand a contract. I would consider going after him. I think you could do a lot worse than 3 times 7, 3 times 8 for a future Hall of Famer. Maybe it won't even take 3. Maybe it'll take 2. I don't know. But I would absolutely kick the tires on that. But do I think Brad Marchand is coming to Carolina? No. And not to stray from the Hurricanes here, if I were Montreal, there isn't a number that I would say, no way. Montreal. I would do that in a second. I'm not sure that he would go there, but I would do the full court press for Brad Marchand. Anyway, Marchand would definitely be a consideration. But here is my blueprint for the Hurricanes. Remember, they need a center, they need a goal scorer, and they need a top right defenseman. First thing I am doing, and I don't care if the organization doesn't really want him, I am calling the Boston Bruins. Do you really want to keep Elias Lindholm? Do you really? I know I've been barking up this tree for a long time. By the way, I have fallback options. We'll get to those in a minute. Elias Lindholm's got 6 years left in a deal that pays him $7.75 million a year. Is he the 85 to 90 point guy he was when he was playing in between the late Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk? No, he's not. But here's what Elias Lindholm is. 55 to 60 points. Boston was bad last year. I ain't holding that against them. Elias Lindholm is 55 to 60 points. He is 55% or better in the faceoff circle. He is a right-handed centerman. He can play in all situations, plays with a little bit of grit and bite, which I like. I've always thought that when he added that element to his game, he was better. He is strong, and they need some size, and he is a center, and a damn good defensive center. To me, is he a big scorer anymore? No, but I ain't adding Elias Lindholm to score 30 goals. Carolina needs a better option as a right-handed center. Well, how about an option as a right-handed center? So, I don't know what Boston would want for Elias Lindholm, but I would kick those tires. We'll get to the fallback plan in a minute. That's my start. My next is, we ain't talking to Mitch Marner. Yeah, whatever. Fantasy. I got my center. Now I need a wing who's going to score some goals. Carolina has always liked Nick Ehlers from Winnipeg. That's where I'm going. I love Nick Ehlers as a player. He is, while not the defensive player he was maybe a couple of years ago, he's a good forechecker. He is a really good finisher. And I think Carolina, he's not a small guy, 6 foot, but you've already added a little bit of size in the middle with Lindholm, who's 6'1", about 200 pounds. And I think Ehlers would fit beautifully as a free agent. What is that number going to be? I don't know. 8.5, maybe 9. But I think Ehlers is worth that. Who knows? He might not even have to go to the full 7 years. Maybe you would. Don't know. So I've now added Elias Lindholm and Nick Ehlers. By the way, we're going to figure out a way to get Jesperi Kotkaniemi's number off the books. Even if it becomes a situation where, again, I'm making this decision, not the Hurricanes. Even if we have to buy him out, we're going to move on from Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And then I'm going to trade for one of these two, probably more likely to get the first. Rasmus Andersson from Calgary, 1 year away from unrestricted free agency, but you make that deal like you should have, even though it wasn't really possible, with Dallas. After a conversation, hey, we want to sign you long term. We think you'd be great playing next to Jacob Slavin. Let's get this done. So that is my, in some ways, extreme makeover. Now, we have roster issues to deal with. We have Bradley Nadeau, who may or may not be ready to play in the NHL. My guess is, I know he scored a bunch of goals in the A. Maybe not quite at the beginning of the season, but also, if we're trading for Rasmus Andersson and Elias Lindholm, we're going to have to give something up. Maybe Nadeau is part of that. Maybe Scott Morrow is part of that. Morrow to Calgary for Andersson makes some sense, right? So I am all about those types of things. Now, let me give you very quickly a backup plan. And again, don't know if this is possible or not. I have two backup plans actually here. Even though he is not a righty, I wonder, how badly does Vegas want Mitch Marner? Rumor is badly. Could you get William Karlsson? 2 years left on a deal that's just under $6 million. Could you get William Karlsson from them? Maybe not. Is Tomas Hertl worth a return from Vegas to add to the wing? And then you pivot from Karlsson and maybe you go trade, if you can't get Lindholm, you get Shane Pinto from Ottawa. Pinto's a young guy. 1 more year left in a contract before still being a restricted free agent. By the way, this brings us exactly back to where Sam Bennett was in his career, if you want to go back that far. Sam Bennett traded from Calgary to Florida going into restricted free agency. Actually, I believe he might have been a year away from restricted free agency when Florida got him. Exact same place. Bennett's worked out well there. I have no idea if Shane Pinto can be Carolina's Sam Bennett. But he's big, he's right-handed, and Ottawa just might be in the market for some bigger fish. And he's a good center. I love Shane Pinto. So, just some thoughts. I also like Noah Dobson of the Islanders. Not as good defensively, but more dynamic offensively. And maybe playing next to Jacob Slavin, Noah Dobson would be a better player. Things to consider. All right, let's do a rewind. I know there are people interested in Brock Besser. A wise man told me this. Beware of teams unwilling to sign their own free agents. Well, I get it. The Hurricanes let Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, Teuvo Teravainen go. By the way, maybe Teravainen was a cautionary tale. The Hurricanes would have loved to have kept Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, yada, 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 yada. Salary cap issues. They definitely would have kept Shea if the Hurricanes didn't have cap problems. But last year they had cap problems. This year, they do not. No cap problems for the Hurricanes this go-round. All right, let's get to a quick rewind in our final moments. We had Elliot Johnson on. And for for me, I know we talked about the Red Sox, but I want to get to the thing I mentioned to him last because I think it's the most fascinating. So we're watching the College World Series right now. But there were situations during the first 2 rounds in which, because of the concentration of games, and sometimes you're playing twice in one day, and then you have another game the next day, teams were using good pitchers extensively, well over 100 pitches in 2 different stints. And I asked Elliot Johnson what he thinks about those situations.
So the frustrating thing for me is what happens behind the scenes. You have these kids that are ultimate competitors. Okay,
Right.
You wouldn't pry the ball out of my hand, Adam, if I was in that situation. Okay, and everything that you're working for is to get to Omaha, win a College World Series, and then get to pro ball. And the way you're kind of trained, conditioned, et cetera, as a ball player is I'm in a competition today. I'm gonna win this competition right now. And I don't care. I'm going to do everything I can to give everything I have today. Okay. And this is brought to you by somebody that's, spent 13, 14 hours on a bus and, got off the bus and went and go get them. You know what I mean? You got to give everything you got.
Right.
So it's a little bit frustrating because you know that it's not good for the kid, that he's doing what he needs to do to help the team. And then the frustrating thing for hopefully your listeners to pay attention to, it ends up being more about the coach's ability to retain a contract for their future and less about the kid's future. Because if it was about the kid's future, that's just irresponsible. And like I said, knowing, because most of these coaches played too, they're competitors. They get what it was like.
Sure.
So you have to be able to, what I say is you have to be able to have reins on a quarter horse and pull back on those reins, knowing that quarter horse is going to want to keep fighting. Okay. So if it's really ultimately up to the coach to be able to determine what the players are going to do. And I know that these competitors are going to say, hey, I'm good and all that. But if a kid pitches to a College World Series and has a ring, but he isn't allowed or afforded the opportunity to make life-changing money in the draft or be a Major League Baseball player, then you've done that kid a disservice.
All right, that's Elliot Johnson who joined us. It bothered me during the course of the, I guess part of it was the regional round. Also saw it on the super regional round. Sometimes these guys are not pro prospects, and if that's the case, throw every inning. But man, if you're a pro prospect, that's your future, and it's just doesn't seem. I know it seems worth it, but in the long run, maybe it's not worth it. 2 weeks from today, free agency begins. Draft is a little bit short of that, like 10 days away. See what the Hurricanes do in the trade market. We'll address it more tomorrow. Victoria, thank you. See you, everybody.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at X Golf in Cary. Date night blahs, you were thinking about dinner and a movie? Nah. X Golf, great atmosphere, superb bar menu, incredible staff, a really cool vibe, and the best golf simulator in North Carolina. Take date night to a whole